Hi, Fluid Physio family. This is going to be a short video on some exercises to do to unwind at the end of a long day. There's going to be a few standing, a few sitting, and a few that you can do either on your bed or next to the bed on the floor if you'd prefer. The first one we're going to do is for ankle mobility. Okay, so I'm going to roll my pant leg up here so that you can see. All you need is a wall, a door frame, just something that you have a little bit of visual for. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your foot a little bit away from the wall, and you're going to drive your knee straight over your foot, keeping your heel and your big toe down. The key with this is to make sure that your knee midline lines up with at least the third toe of your foot. So I don't want to see your knee driving inside because that means it's not quite getting the right thing. When you're doing this, you should feel either a little bit of joint jamming sensation in the front or some stretch in the back. Either of those is okay to feel. Okay? If you're feeling some pain in your knee, you can also do this kneeling to take some of your weight off. You're going to do somewhere between 10 to 15 repetitions and make sure you're doing both sides. You only need to hold it each 1 to 2 seconds at the most. The next stretch that we're going to do is to open up the side of your body here for the QL. Okay. You can also use the door here or the wall or a door frame. You're going to take one hand on the wall. You're going to be facing to the side. Other hand's going to come over the top, and you're going to lean to try to touch. If you can, great. You can also come a little lower, or you can go a little higher depending on your mobility. And then you're going to sort of press your hips away from that wall. So you're trying to make a nice sort of banana shape with your body here. This one is a stretch, so you're going to hold it for 30 seconds on both sides. So make sure you turn around and do it the other way. You can also increase this stretch by taking the leg that's on the outside and putting it behind to get a little more anchor. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to try to open up your chest, especially if you have a computer-based job. We're sitting, we're going to kind of fall into that front space. So we want to open up the chest so there's more room for your lungs to breathe and so that it's better for your posture. So again, you can use the edge of a wall here or a door frame. You're going to stand with your arm at about 90 degrees bent, okay? So your arm's going to be on the side. Can I have you come over here just a little bit so that they can see? Perfect. So your arm's going to be 90 degrees, okay? And then from here, you can step sort of through that space, which is going to bring that elbow slightly behind you, okay? And then from here, you can turn around so that you're turning away from where your hand is on the wall. What you should feel is a very strong stretch right across the pec muscle here. If you're getting any pinching or pain in the back of the shoulder, then you just simply don't step forward. You just stay back and turn. As that gets better, you'll be able to actually step forward. Okay? After the standing ones, then you can come around and actually sit down on the edge of your bed. We're going to do a few here. Okay? If your bed's really high, you could just do this in a chair to make it a little easier. I know some beds are pretty tall, so it might make it a little more difficult. The first one's going to be a hamstring stretch. So all you need to do is sitting on the edge of whatever seating surface that you're using. You're going to kick one leg out straight so that the heel is down and your knee is straight as possible. And then you're just going to lean forward from your hips. Okay? When you lean forward, you should feel a nice strong hamstring stretch through the back of the knee, maybe all the way up and towards the butt. But otherwise, it's going to be nice and strong at the back of the knee. You can increase it by pulling your toes up, which is going to include some calf. Or you can keep your toes a little pressed down if that's too much for you. Okay. Stretching for 30 seconds on each side. Then you can move on into a piriformis stretch. There's lots of different variations of this one, so I'm going to give you kind of two options. You're going to have your leg crisscrossed over the other one as best as you can. If you can't quite get into this position and that leg needs to be more like this, or you need to have your leg more like that to get it up there, that's fine, okay? But get it as high as you can into this position. And then you can do one of two things. You can either fold forward from your hips again, like this. So you're just leaning forward. And you should get a nice, strong sort of side of the butt stretch. Or you can take your knee and pull it up and across like you're aiming for your opposite shoulder. And again, you're going to get that side of the butt stretch. When you're doing this version, just make sure that you're not just going with it, because then you're not going to get as much stretch. Make sure you're kind of anchoring your butt down to whatever you're sitting on. Okay. For the next stretch, we're going to do a hip flexor stretch. Oh, I'm sorry. For the hamstring, you're going to do 30 seconds on both sides. For the next stretch, we're going to do a hip flexor stretch. You can do this sort of sitting off to the edge of the bed or the chair that you're on, or you can do it kneeling. So I'm going to show you both variations. If you're going to stay on the edge of the bed or a chair, you're going to turn your body to the side. What's going to end up happening is that sort of outside butt cheek's going to sort of fall off the edge. If you're on a chair, you can grab the other side, or if you have a top sheet or something, you can sort of grab onto that to give you a little bit of balance. And then you're going to take that leg and reach it way behind you and just sort of push yourself forward. You should get a nice stretch in through here. You can have a little bit more bent knee if it's more comfortable, or straighter to get more stretch. If this feels uncomfortable or unsafe, that you feel like you're going to fall over, then you can just go down into a kneeling position, okay, and do exactly the same thing, but that back knee is just going to be on the ground, and you're going to lean yourself forward, again, feeling that nice stretch through the front of the hip here. You can also pop those toes up in the back to get a little bit more down into the thigh, or leave it down to just get up at the hip. Again, 30 seconds on each side. From there, we're going to do a couple of movements on the bed. If you're kneeling, you can just stay on the floor, or you can do it up on the bed just so it's more comfortable for your body. Either way is fine. I'm going to be up here just to make it a little easier to see things. So the first thing you're going to do is called a cat-cow. So that's where you're going to go onto all fours. And this is for spinal mobility. So we're just working on getting the spine moving. So the first thing you're going to do is the cat position. So from here, you're going to arch through your back like you're trying to bring the middle of your back up to the ceiling. You're going to drop your head in and tuck your butt underneath. So we want to be as round as possible here. And you can hold this for a few seconds or longer, depending on if it feels comfortable. And then we're going to do the cow position, which is going to be opposite. So you're going to sort of drop your chest down like you're trying to touch the table. You're going to arch your lower back and bring your head up and like you're looking at the ceiling. And you're just going to alternate between those two positions. You don't have to move quickly, and you can hold the stretch positions as long as you want. Generally, we recommend trying to go for a couple of seconds each position and around 10 to 15 repetitions. If you're crunched for time, some is better than none. And that is your cat-cow. The next exercise is called an open book. I'm going to do it without a pillow, but you're welcome to have a pillow under your head. So you're going to roll down onto one of your sides. It doesn't matter which side because you're going to end up doing both. Okay? You're going to have your knees stacked on top of each other, feet together as well. Okay? Arms are going to start out to the side, and then you're going to make sure that you're moving through your rib cage here. So I don't want you to just use your arm to open up because that's going to put a lot of stress on your shoulder, and we don't want that. So you want to move through the torso like you're pulling your rib cage back and trying to touch the back part of your rib cage down. If you want to open up your arm in this position, you can. If you get any shoulder pain, then you can keep your hand at your shoulder to reduce some of the stress. And then you're going to go back. Again, this is for joints, so they tend to like more repetition over time. So only a couple of seconds is needed, and you're going to do 10 or 15 reps. I'm going to turn over so you can see it from the back so you get a little better idea of how the movement happens. So again, you're going to be on your side, knees together, feet together, and not doing this with your arm. I don't want the arm doing the work because then your torso is not moving. You want to pull through the rib cage and open up. Again, hand here if you have shoulder pain, or hand open, which also gives you a little extra pec stretch. And back. Okay. The last thing that we're going to do is some diaphragmatic breathing. And this is more so for some nervous system regulation. Just sort of helps bring you out of any sympathetic nervous system activation or that fight or flight response that you may have from adrenaline of a long workday or stress, to sort of bring you into the more parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. So all you have to do for this one is laying down on your back. Make sure you're comfortable. This is a little high for me, but we'll leave it. And you want to do this with your feet up just so that it takes some of the pressure away from your spine. And then what I'm going to have you do is you're going to put your hands kind of on your belly down here. Okay, I don't want them too much on the rib cage or you can do one of each. So one hand on your belly, one on your rib cage. Whichever is easier for you to figure this one out is fine. And what you're going to learn how to do is try to breathe in using your belly muscle, that's your diaphragm, and not use so much of your rib cage muscles. So you're going to take a nice deep breath in and then out. And if you're doing it with one hand on each, what you should see is that the hand on the belly moves and the one on the rib cage really doesn't move a whole lot. Okay? You also, when you breathe out, you should feel a little compression through the bottom part of your rib cage. That's your diaphragm pulling in. So if you watch here, as I breathe out, I'm going to switch my hands so it's a little easier to see. You should see my rib cage kind of compressing down like it's pushing into the table. You'll also notice that I'm breathing in through my nose and then out through my mouth. You can also use the thought of breathing out, or like you're blowing out candles to get that longer breath. It just helps activate your diaphragm a little bit more. And you can do anywhere from 5 to 10 breaths doing it this way. It does cause lightheadedness sometimes, so just be aware of that. You're laying down, so it's okay. But if you're noticing the lightheadedness, just don't do any more. Just start to breathe your regular breathing pattern, and then you can do a few more. All right.